Lisa and George from Kin Carta, who we are very grateful to have along, and you know, a big thanks to them for this project, but for B, spending time at the other end of it here today. So we're really pleased that they could come along. And I think we might have some other, I know we've got some registered tickets from some other interested parties, so and interested persons, so thank you for coming along. The format is basically going to walk through this project from brief through to pitch, all the way through to talking about the placement experiences. And this is going to come from Andrew's perspective. And if you are, you know, if you're a student and you're watching this, you've got any questions, please do pitch in. Some of it might seem quite mind-blowing. Hopefully not too mind-blowing, but please do. The purpose really of the event is to give everybody who might be coming on the course or who is interested in the subject some insight into how we go about doing this and who we do this with. I should also point out that this is a motion graphic project, which is a sort of subgenre of graphics and of the course. For that reason, and for the nature of this kind of work, often graphic animation is very short and runs very quickly. Students, obviously, and everybody's trying to get as much information as they can into a really short period of time. So we have tested this, and it runs best online, and it runs best through Vimeo, but it still doesn't run brilliantly. And again, the links are there, and I'll lead you to them when the time is right. So if you can't see something running properly, bear with us, and I'll try and give you an opportunity to have a look at it properly at your side. So we've been working with Kin Carta, who this project has come from, well, since they were a maze, and for quite a long period of time. We've had, I think, certainly 3 alumni working there. We've had, I've lost track of the placements that we've had there, and we've had another 2 this year from this project. We've been working with Kin Carta on this project, well, not this specific project, but in general for quite a long time. And Lisa, who is one of our alumni, has started over the last few years, started really leading this project and really has helped shape it, providing you know, a live brief, client assets to work with, visits for briefing in, visits to us for workshops. And then visit to them for pitching and placements. We've had portfolio reviews. You know, it's what they've done for us has been amazing, and particularly Lisa. So again, thank you very much. What Kin Carta, I'm going to try and summarize this, the creating a small part of what Kin Carta do as an organization. They aim to provide sort of a digital advantage to their clients. And, you know, I think it's probably better to quickly explain how that fits in for our students. So especially for 2nd and 3rd years, I think what the engagement with Kin Carta does from a technical perspective is help students understand the difference between screen design, which is what they do, screen designs from simply being a platform to providing greater opportunity for engagement from the market. Lisa, did you want to add anything to that?
I knew you were going to do that.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you said it very eloquently, if I'm honest. I don't really have any more to add. I think it's just worth pointing out that obviously the agency is quite passionate about the younger generation and obviously getting them upskilled in things and understanding the world of digital. Obviously it's obviously the way things are going, and obviously myself and George, you know, we were keen for the students to be exposed to as much as possible during the brief and during the project. So I'm glad they enjoyed it, and also well done to Alex as well, for getting a job. Yeah, we did
well, Alex K. Yeah, I mean Alex W. Sorry, yes, yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Well done, Alex. Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, good point. Yeah, I mean, I should sort of briefly mention that you will see the work, and I will try and eke out of Andrew as much, you know, the heart. And I think that's really important, because you're not going to be short of work to look at. But I think the most important thing is that the experience that this gives is much greater than the work that you will see. And so we will be looking at that and discussing that as we go along. Also, it helps the students with contacts, placements, and you know, it's also worth pointing out that Kin Carta have mentored our students, and I know Lisa's done that for some time now. So without further ado, let's sort of get straight into it. So what happens is that I together with George and Lisa work up a brief. I say I do. They pretty much did it themselves, and you know, then this whole project runs for a semester, which is, you know, about 15 weeks, and we go up to Kin Carta's offices, and we see their waiting room, which they've got these wonderful pillows that made a lot of the students giggle, but I can't help thinking that B.A. Baracus kind of put people slightly more on edge than they probably already were, which was quite amusing. We don't have great images from this particular visit, but this is pretty much Paul, the creative director. You see Lisa and George there, just about to brief the team in, brief the students in. And this is second and third year, so it's important to make that clear, that you will have had a very good grounding in the preparatory areas and principal areas of graphic design and advertising by that point. And they provide us with a brief, and I'm just going to quickly switch over to Acrobat for that. And this brief runs to, I think, 4 odd pages, something like that. Yeah, 4 pages. No, 5, I do apologize. And it's broken down into a collection of different areas. And it's always a consideration at this point. Do we take this brief and sort of manipulate it into a way that it looks exactly the way we put briefs in front of our students? And, you know, the gut feeling here is no. Students have to get used to seeing briefs expressed in different ways. And so this brief has 3 different outcomes: the animation of a logo, the animation of the product range, and some social platform engagement. And I'm going to keep that to the point there, because those of you who know me know that I could run over here. They've also provide an awful lot of assets. So the client here was Saucy Fish, and they provided the branding identity for Saucy Fish, the guidelines, so that students could see how Saucy Fish put themselves across. Loads and loads of stuff here, way more than I'm going to show you. Images, product images, collection of product images, some video footage that students could use or could not use, depending on whether they did want to or not. I should point out there was a wide range of solutions to this project, not just Andrew's. Yeah. Product shots, more product shots, some music. Okay, that's a sound effect, not technically music. This should be music. And those of you who worked on the project will remember hearing that come out of the studios constantly.
It haunts me.
Yeah. And I think at this point, you know, we would have had our brief. What were your first feelings, Andrew, coming into? I mean, because Andrew was a top-up student, so he was just on the final year. How did you feel going into that briefing?
So before I was on this course, I was on a different course at a different university, and I just wasn't enjoying it. I just felt like it was graphic design still, but the way that it was taught, there was no kind of real world experience. I was kind of just learning in a studio and had the tutor's opinion, and that was it. And I really wanted something a bit more engaging. So coming into the course and this being one of the first things that we did was just amazing, and just, you know, confirmed that I was on the right course for me. We went in, it was really exciting actually. We had Diet Cokes and like Coke Zeros on the table. It was very professional. I felt very like treating us. And yeah, when Lisa and George went through the presentation of like past work, I was quite intimidated like for the start, because, you know, you had Co-op, Lexus, like Unilever, like so many different like massive clients. So when this was happening, I was kind of sat there like, oh gosh, like these guys like know what they're doing, like they're so experienced, they got these massive clients, like, you know, there was that kind of like anxiety, but also I really wanted to, you know, do something of that standard so I could, you know, impress and be on that kind of level or be on their radar. So initially, yeah, going through the brief, it was good to see a brief that was designed differently too, because you do get a bit familiar with like the way that they're like most universities line their briefs or lay out their briefs the exact same way. So seeing it a bit different and having to take out the information that was most relevant to me or the information that we needed was good, because, you know, in the uni one, it's kind of like do this, do this, do this. So this was it was more engaging, I thought, just to hunt it out myself. So yeah, those are my initial kind of.
What about the scale of the job? There's 3 areas to work on there. Was that a worry with the time that you had? And what were your application skills like in motion graphics at this point?
Yeah, so I just done like a tiny bit of animation, like hardly anything, to be honest. Like I did like just, you know, for YouTube and stuff like that, when you're like a kid and you're like making like Windows Movie Maker slide things, like I had hardly any experience with it. So I was like, I knew the package, like I downloaded it to see what it was about, and I like, you know, played around in it, but I hadn't made anything that I was proud of from it. So seeing that the whole brief kind of relied really heavy on a software that I wasn't familiar with, I was a bit like, you know, I want to impress them, but I don't really know what I'm doing. So there was like that kind of added into it. But I was also excited because, you know, it's a chance to learn something new and build my skills. And like, it was something else I could add to my CV. Like I'd made like an animation. So I was raring to get going with it. The time scale was good, I think, for everything that we needed to do. Like it all went.
Shall we have a quick look at some initial ideas and sort of get into what you did? Before we do that, Alex, can I just ask, have any questions raised? Has anybody raised any questions? Would anybody like to raise any questions at this point? And have we got anybody waiting to come in? Just need to unmute.
Hey, I've got a question. Oh, sorry.
No, go on. Go, shoot.
Is the Saucy Fish company, like, is it a real company, or is it something that's been made specifically for like the graphic design course?
Do you want to answer that, Lisa? You worked on it.
Definitely Andrew. You should be answering the questions.
Me?
Yeah, you work on it. Yeah, come on.
But myself and George can answer this. Yes, Saucy Fish is a real company. They are based in Grimsby. You can go and buy the fish in many supermarket retailers. They are available in Waitrose, Sainsbury's, Tesco. They're in the frozen aisle as well as the fresh aisle. But yes, they are very much a real company.
That's cool.
That's a good sales.
Thank you.
Okay. Does anybody else have any other questions?
I was thinking, How'd you get graded after you done the project? Hello?
Was that how, yes, sorry. Was that how do you get graded once you've done the project?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's quite a deep question, quite an interesting question. The unit will have a collection of learning outcomes that the project is designed to hit, and we have a matrix, if you like, that comes from our higher education institution, the awarding body, which is Manchester Metropolitan University, and we would apply our understanding of that matrix against those learning outcomes. We didn't sort of want to show that side of it, but you know that's something that we could do at the end if you were still interested. It would be marked across 3 by 3 specialist tutors, and then the marketing department will carry out a double sort of marking process where they would sort of have a look at how effective the work is, and then the work is looked at by an external examiner. But I think the first question is the work engaging? Is it appropriate? Will it stop you in your track? And is it selling the product? And I think those are the main things we're trying to look for here at this point. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, super. Any more questions?
There's nothing in the chat, Alex.
No, nothing in the chat. Okay. Anybody else?
Am I unmuted? I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
It's probably for Andrew, I guess. Once you realize that you have to learn a new software, etc., like that you didn't have the skills to do the project, what kind of support or how did you go about developing the skills that you needed to meet the briefing?
Yeah, well, on the brief, Lisa and George really kindly scheduled in mentoring sessions. So they came into campus, and George, master of After Effects, kind of walked us through everything, a whole crash course on how to use it from start to end. It was how to export everything. And Lisa as well came in to talk us through our storyboards, what storyboards ideas were strong, and to remind us about timings and things like that. Because initially I had all these massive ideas and I was I'm going to do this. And Lisa was you've got 15 seconds, got to be concise. So we got real world experience. They came in to make sure that we felt comfortable with the software and guided us the whole way through it. And anything that I didn't know, or anything that I forgot to say to George, I could always just shoot him an email. He was really open and really responsive to things like that. Same with Lisa. And there's always YouTube too. Anything that I felt that I was a bit kind of oh, maybe I should find it out for myself. So there was, I went and sought the information myself if I needed to, but George was always there to back it up. Same with Lisa.
If I can just sort of pitch in there. Also, the brief did have some guidance on resources to go to and how far to get through those resources in order to get into a position to execute the brief. So yes, and then we had George's sessions, and we had studio sessions where everybody was working on the application. Shanina, can I just ask you to mute your mic again for us, please?
Is it done?
Yeah, could you just mute your mic for us again, please? Yeah, so there's quite a lot of support around that, even though it was actually a new application. A lot of the times when we work with Maze, they do throw new applications at us. So I think last year we installed Sketch across our suite of Macs, and again that was quite a learning curve for everyone. Okay, shall we move on then? I might just want to point out that this may run over a little, so just so people are aware of that.
Yeah.
You could just monitor that mic, Alex. Thanks. Okay, so shall we just talk about the project?
After we got the brief, I just broke the brief down into the key elements, the things that I thought were most important to take out of it. Because as I was saying with the education briefs, it's kind of like set out for you. It's like this. So I just kind of wanted to do that just so I knew exactly what I had to do and make a note. Then target audience. So I just did a bit of research on target audience, like who was I designing for. So on the website, it was busy young professionals. It is for everybody, of course, but there were a few of the past campaigns were based around them. So this is kind of the pitch as well that I gave to George and Lisa when I was in. So I looked at the competitors. So Dulcrum, Got You Feeling, GLUM, Tired. Next slide, Alex. Tired, uninspired, yeah. So I just give them this pitch about how all the competitors were just lacking personality. They were safe. They all kind of went down the route of like, I'm a fisherman and I'm your friends, and get your 5 a day and omega-3 and all this. And it was just unemotive. There was no it wasn't relatable, and there wasn't a relationship there. So I was like, how can I make a relationship between the products and people like my age, like young professionals, kind of around like 25. So I had a look at some statistics. So I wanted to see, do young professionals prefer brands that they relate to? Do they prefer content that's like relevant and engaging to their lives? So like 86% of young professionals prefer to engage with content that's relevant to their lives. So I was like, right, relationships, thinking like, how can I reignite that love with food? So then I went into my first deliverable. So the first deliverable was on the brief was to create a logo animation. So I looked at the thing that the brand guidelines, that Amaze provided. So it had like some keywords in it, like enthusiast. The brand was enthusiastic. It was playful. It was vibrant. And I also went in Cosmopolitan to look at like your perfect match, like in a dating kind of scenario. And those, like a lot of the words that they used to describe the brand came up on Cosmopolitan, like, enthusiastic, you want somebody, your perfect match, to be enthusiastic and playful and vibrant. So that was kind of like the light bulb moment for me, where I was like, right, maybe I can build something on that, play with that kind of idea. So taking those keywords, I thought, was there a way that I could apply those words to the logo to make it move kind of in a way that was playful or vibrant.
Could you explain to us, Andrew, what does a perfect match with people have to do with food, please?
Yeah. So playing on the idea that people prefer to engage with content that was relevant to their lives, I thought, right, well, what's more relevant than, the products, sorry. So I looked at all the products too, and they had so many products, like 6 just for the breaded range. And I was like, right, how do I know which one's right for me? Like which ones will I like? And there's definitely going to be a perfect match for me to eat in that. And then again, looking at the statistics, I saw that, people like content that's relevant. I was like, well, dating, food, everybody wants that meal that's perfect for them, So that was kind of how I sandwiched the two together. Was like, if that makes sense, I hope it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. No problem. So so applying, so I just did these aren't the best sketches, it's just like dull tips, but I just looked at maybe like the sauce kind of waving over the logo, so the logo would come up and it would fill with sauce, and the sauce would like drip down on it, and then these are the ones that got away. So the playing on relationships again, but yeah, so I did like a shrink, so the logo would expand. I did one where the logo would expand, and then the saucy wave would come over. I did another where the logo would ripple. I think you've got them there, Alex.
Yeah, I'm just going to run these.
So I don't know how well these play, but Alex has put them in the chat as well. But I got confused. So I read the brief first time rounds, and for some reason, so the animation had to be 15 seconds, but I misinterpreted it and thought that the logo had to be 15 seconds. So as you can see, nothing's happening there for like an entire like 10 seconds. It starts and then it stops. That was a big like mistake on my end. But I think it's important to include that because you know, I didn't notice that. But then when I was talking to Lisa and stuff, she pointed it out, you know, that the animation's 15 seconds, so it was okay to make like wee mistakes like that there because, you know, they were there to help and support you. The other one that I did, yeah, was the wave one. It is, yeah. So this is the one that I did for the wave, and initially I couldn't get the white line of sauce to come up, and I got really confused, and I tried to Google like specific things to see if I could get something that make that happen. But then George came in, and George, like within like 2 seconds, was like, "This is how you do it," and showed me. And now I know if I ever need to make a saucy wave appear, I can do that.
Thank you. Okay, and I think then we're into the animation. So let's just go down.
So yeah, so we showed the early kind of versions that we did of the logos to George and Lisa, and there was lots that I hadn't thought about, like you know, you're trying to capture somebody's attention with the logo, and as you can see, there's so much wasted space there. The logo just like, and then there's all this like white space in the background that sometimes can be good, but when like Saucy Fish is so vibrant and exciting, it feels like a shame just to leave that space just like as dead weight kind of thing. So I wanted to give it a bit more sauce. So just some like technical skills. So I found a YouTube tutorial on how to do like this effect called turbulent displays. So you can get a shape and you can manipulate the shape, and you can edit like how it comes in and stuff. So that's what I did. I added that into it, and I just followed the tutorial step by step because I wasn't confident doing that myself. But from that now, moving forward, you know, if I needed to do that again, I could.
Should run the final video of the logo again. Now, I don't know how well this is going to run, but just so that you know, here we go. In the chat somewhere, it should be the first link. So you could copy and paste that into Vimeo, and you should be able to see this play. But I'm going to play it anyway. It's very quick. It's just a logo animation, so maybe quite jumpy. I'll play it a few times. So it's super quick. Even for me, that's jumpy because it's so quick. So I'm just going to run that again. It's so quick that Vimeo can't even keep up. So
we've got the stills of it as well on the next slide. It kind of broke into them.
Okay, well, let's go and have a look at them, shall we? If anybody wants to take a bit of time, just have a quick look, just copy and paste that link in, please do. That is the frame by frame.
Yeah. So if it is jumpy for you and you don't want to go to Vimeo, this is kind of the essence of what it is. The logo spins, and then to fill that wasted space, the sauce kind of, I tried to make it look like the sauce like spreads out from the reveal, and then a burst, and then the wave fills up again, and then the logo appears. Working through that, it was actually quite hard because see the different layers of sauce, so all the colors came in at different times. So the main logo for Saucy Fish is that like bright kind of pink, like cyan kind of color. So initially when I did that, I got the layers wrong, so it ended up being like orange and like blue, but you know, the brands, you have to stay true to what the logo was. So I managed to sort it all out, but there was loads of little like mess ups that I had the first time around. But you know, from showing the class as well, like people, I think Alex pointed that out to me. She was like, you know, oh, the logo has to finish the way that it should on like the packages. So I was able to take that there. So everyone gives you critiques as well, which is really helpful to make sure that you're doing the best you can.
I'm just going to stop there again and just see if there are any questions at this point. Alex, have we got anybody else waiting in the room? You're just letting people in?
No.
Okay.
No, we're all good at this end, Alex. There's no questions in the chat.
Okay, thank you. Anybody? Okay. Deliverable 2, Andrew.
Yeah, so again on that theme of like creating a connection with the brands, creating a connection with the food that's right for you. I looked at trying to inject like a bit of like relatability, personality, and like love, I guess, into the 15-second animation, which is Deliverable 2. Yeah, moving forward from that.
The purpose of that deliverable is to sell the product, isn't it?
Yeah, to sell the product. So I wanted to make. I came up with some storyboards, and these are the storyboards that I showed Lisa. They're not amazing, but they're just quick roughs. But this was the first one. So I thought about like an old man, and he's alone in his flat, and he looks out his window and he sees all these other like flats lighting up, all the saucy fish colours, and they're all dancing and having fun and eating the saucy fish like meals. And then he, you know, takes the plunge and orders a box of saucy fish products, because you can buy them online as well, in case you wanted to. And then as soon as it arrives, he tucks in, and there's like this explosion of like colors, like all the sauce kind of comes out from behind him, and like his world's kind of turned upside down, and it's all exciting and vibrant. So that was the first one, but I didn't even think that like it's 15 seconds, and that was quite a long one, and Lisa pointed that out to me. Yeah, and it was quite asset heavy too. Like I would have had to draw so much for it, so that just put that on the back burner. This is the second one. So I called it like Isle of Crumbs. So it was a fish swimming along, and then it would pop up to try and find like the island that was like right for him to like swim around. So there was one, the first one, and had all these parody boxes. So it'd be like Bird's Why, like instead of Bird's eye, like Bird's Why would you buy this kind of thing. And then it'd swim to the next one because that wasn't for him. And then he'd see like the saucy fish volcano of all the sauce coming up. And he was like, right, that's the island for me. So he'd jump up onto the shore. And then as he jumped onto the shore, the fish would like turn into a box of like the product, like the cod croquettes. And yeah, a dish for everyone. So it was kind of like the fish was trying to find his perfect like island match. And again,
Andrew's very ambitious.
Yeah, I didn't want to be limited by like my design or my concept. I wanted to come up with something big and then try and figure out how to make it work after. Like I wasn't worried about it not all sandwiching together too well. I just thought, you know what, I'll do something that I want to do, and then it'll all work out in the end, hopefully. So this is the third one. So it was a play on, do you know that dating website, like Plenty of Fish? So there was a play on that, like Plenty of Saucy Fish, and there was a fish, picked up his phone, and he was swiping through all these options. So again, like Bird's Why and all this, and then he sees the saucy fish one, and his face lights up because he's so excited that, you know, this is something different, something exciting, something breaking the norm. And then he matches and has this like perfect meal kind of thing. And that one was, because I was new to the software, when I like talked it out, it fit the time frame as well, 15 seconds. And also like Tinder and Bumble and things like that, they're quite relevant to like young people's kind of lives. Like a lot of people are used to that format of like swiping through your phone. So I thought, you know, if somebody sees that, they're going to find it relevant or relatable. So this was the screen content. So I showed this to Lisa, or was it Lisa or George? I can't remember, but I showed them the first one. And that pops up on the screen. So you've got 15 seconds. So that would just pop up on screen for like a fraction of a second. And there's so much information to take in. Like you've got to read that it's a parody of Bird's Eye, like fish fingers. You've got to read that the little like name at the bottom and everything. And it's just so much to like absorb. And I thought, you know what, maybe if I make it bold, it'll be easier to stand out. So that was the second one. And then I put the saucy fish packet, like I made a vector of that and put that in, thought maybe this will be better. Not realizing that the whole point was that you can't read anything, it's so busy. So I changed that around. And this is more failed attempts of me doing the opening sequence for my animation. So it was like fish plus sauce plus coating equals like, you know, perfect match, perfect mealtime match, grab our coded range you pulled. And I ended up going with your coded mealtime match because it was kind of snappy and to the point. So for my animation, I made my own character. So I went through all these like iterations at the bottom and colors. The first one kind of looks like a goldfish, so that's why that one got axed. And it was really heavily based on this there's a chip shop around the corner from me, and I see like the logo kind of like that, and I was like, do you know what? Let's see if I can do that there. And it just looked too much like a fish and chips like shops. And I went down and down and down until I got to the one that was like right, but it felt right for me. So the color versions, I tried different colors, and the blue is like saucy fish. It was one of the colors from the brand guidelines that saucy fish use. So I managed to sandwich everything in and get it fit together. So once I had the character, I had to go on to make all these different facial expressions because I wanted the character to be emotive. I wanted him to just not just float there. I wanted him to be like shocked, so that when he saw all the different products. So the next slide, Alex.
Yeah, sorry.
No problemo. Yeah, so these are all the different like facial expressions that I made. So first one isn't that impressive, but I was quite proud of it when he moved his eyes. So you'll see it in a bit. I'm building up. But yeah, his like eyes moved down to look at his phone, and that was the first like proper bit of animation that I'd done of the character, and I was like, oh, Pixar, here I come. And then I made his mouth like dribble because he was like so excited, like he was just, he was like and then he winks whenever he finds the perfect match, and then the love heart eyes of like, wow, like I'm so glad that I matched with this. There's all these different iterations that are small, and like you probably wouldn't even notice them like if you saw it on like the TV or something, but yeah. This is the context. So I wanted the fish, I initially started with the logo starting on screen, and then it like panned down to like the seabed, and then the fish would be there with his like phone. But I thought that the colors didn't look very saucy fish. Like I tried really hard to make it look saucy fish. Like there was gradients, and like you can see the seaweed's like light pink and purple mixed together, and the background's like the black. So I went through all the different versions till it got to the bottom one where you can see that it's all the colors are just like solid colors, which is good, kind of makes it more relevant. This was something I didn't even think about. I think it was Lisa was saying that you could make more nods to the brands. So he just was holding a phone, and I didn't think, why the phone could be like Saucy Fish branded phone. So I added the little wave that was on the Saucy Fish logo and put it onto the phone, so that he was like holding like a Saucy Fish iPhone. And on the brief, one of the key requirements of like the 15-second advert for the coded range was to make sure you pulled out the product's like unique properties. So, the basilmelts have like, flour and like egg and all this. So I wanted to show that it was all natural like ingredients, it was fresh. So I did the little illustrations and then pulled them out. And then this is the animation.
And, I mean, I think it's worth pointing out, like, there's an awful lot going on there. And I think, distilling a lot of very complicated ideas, very complicated issues, trying to keep the brief at the center, coping with copywriting and, how much an idea is taking over, and how much is it sort of being compelling and bringing back and bringing forward different things. So it's quite a lot. There's quite a lot to be thinking about now. This is it, but it's 15 seconds, so it's going to go like literally jump. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run it, but then I'd like everybody to just delve into the chat. Where am I going? Delve into the chat. We'll do that in a sec. So I'm just going to run this and we'll see how this goes.
The Saucy Fish Coated Range. There's a perfect match for everyone. From our Bossa Melt with a smashing garlic and cream center to our cod croquet, swipe your perfect match today. Visit shop.thesaucyfishco.com. Now,
of course, for me, that was perfect. But for everybody else, it probably wasn't. So if you go up to the chat, please, let's all do this, because that is what we're here for. Go up to the chat and copy these. Oh, like the first video from Work From Talk, and I'll have pasted that in. So that's the vimeo.com, and then it's the number ending in 493. Just see if you can run that for us, please, guys. Now, I can only see a few people's faces here. I can't see the whole meeting. So I'm going to assume that we've managed to run through that. Oh, thank you, Ivan. I'm going to run it one more time from my end.
The Saucy Fish Co. Coated Range. There's a perfect match for everyone. From our Bossa Melts with a smashing garlic and cream center to our cod croquet, swipe your perfect match today. Visit shop.thesaucyfishco.com.
Now, what's interesting about this is that Andrew doesn't use the music. And he only uses their images a few times. So much of this is built by him. He's chosen his own music, which you did look into the copyright on that as well, didn't you, Andrew?
Yeah, so it's an Elder Bard song, Rhythm of the Night. It's from like the 80s. So like the copyright, like if you wanted to get it, like you could get it.
I mean, you know, people like myself and maybe Paolo might remember dancing to that at discos and hops of our time. Also, the astute amongst you might notice that there's a voiceover. Do you want to just tell us about that, Andrew?
Yeah, so the voiceover, I wanted to have somebody like telling the story almost, just in case it got lost. So I wrote the script myself, so I did a bit of copywriting, just writing everything down that I wanted to say. And then I sourced it myself. So I went to Fiverr, that website where you can get people to do a job for Fiverr. So I found this podcast lady that recorded the voice for me for £5, and I've overlaid it. Even though like the brand is from Grimsby, I thought like the American voice kind of give it yeah, it kind of made it feel a bit more like global, because I looked at the brands and you know where they were planning to go, and they're trying to get into, I think they're in Canada already, I'm not too sure, but they're selling like globally. So I thought, well, the American accent is, you know, it's used by Siri, it's used in like Alexa, like Google Home and all that, like it's kind of like the default accent for a lot of things. So I thought, you know, it's easily understood. You know, if you had like I don't know, like an accent from like Liverpool being on it, it'd be really hard to kind of hear everything. So I went with that, just for easy listening. So this is
hopefully everybody's had a look at that, yeah? I mean, I don't think we need to go through every slide there, Andrew.
Yeah, of course. That's just
we move on to deliverable 3.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So deliverable 3 was we had to create like a social media element for the campaign. So I went with Instagram because 18 to 13-year-olds use Instagram as their preferred kind of platform, and I felt like Facebook was showing its age with all like the scandals going on around it. So this is kind of what inspired me. So these adverts, those like gamification ones where it plays a video, and if you hold down in the video, it pauses. So like Nando's has one there where you can try and like dip into like the sauce with it. So I wanted to do something like that.
So we'll have a quick look at that. This, again, it's not going to run brilliantly, but you'll get the idea, I would imagine, better than on the other one. You can just talk through this, Andrew.
Yeah. So it was the same kind of scene, like the backgrounds and everything from the advert, and the products flash through like on a Tinder kind of platform, and then you hold down on the video on like the Instagram advert and it pauses, and that's your like perfect match. That's the meal that you go out and buy.
I'll run that one more time.
And then at the end, there's a little call to action, so you can like, it's like grab your coat you've pulled, swipe up and buy like whatever one you got. If I was doing it again, I think there was, I'd want to make it a bit more tailored. Like it's a bit random. It's like a randomizer almost, you know, like it's not your perfect match because it's random. But if I was going back to do it, I think that, you know, there would be maybe some other things I'd maybe change. But with everything.
I mean, I'd just like to pitch in here and just say, you know, there's a lot of mock-ups going on here, you know. I mean, obviously you've got some assets, but you're still, you know, that's, you know, that's no small job on top of 2 animation jobs that you're dealing with. So it's pretty impressive, isn't it?
Thank you. So the summary of everything that I showed was just, so I wanted to create a connection with the demographic, build a brand that's a bit more relevant to the demographic, and then it's also playful and in tune with the brand's like ethos. So yeah, so I did some stuff that they didn't ask for, just to elevate it a bit further. So I thought maybe what if like Love Island was sponsored by Saucy Fish, and like the contestants were like eating the saucy fish dishes, or what if just like simply on Tinder, when Tinder adverts come up, what if there was one for Saucy Fish, or like a whole episode of First Dates that was like sponsored by Saucy Fish, just to show that the concept could have legs and it could grow further, like if they wanted to. And I think, I can't remember if I'm saying this 100%, but I think myself and Alex, who also got picked for the job shadowing placement opportunity, I think that was the thing. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I remember Lisa saying that, you know, because we went that extra mile, like that kind of set us ahead from the other people that were doing the brief. I think it is always good to kind of push yourself. So yeah, that is it. Grab our coded range you've pulled.
Before we talk about the pitch, does anybody have any questions at this point? Alex, have we got anything in the chat?
There's nothing in the chat apart from Katie Kelly showing her appreciation for the finished product.
Oh, go on.
Thank you.
Go on, Katie. She here, is she?
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay, thanks, Alex. Now this is so this is one of the meeting rooms at Kin Carta, and we've got some students and some Kin Carta people all together there. You can't take a picture like that at the beginning. That was at the end. So this was the panel, looking somewhat more serious and more scary than previously. And students presented their work on this screen here and pitched from here. It wasn't that cold. I don't know what. Soraya, I'm sure Soraya. I know Soraya grabbed the ticket, so she's probably going. Ugh. She's probably listening right now. I can't see it, but yeah, I mean, everybody did a brilliant job. And I just had to include the last picture of Lisa. There you go. I wondered how long that would take to detonate on your screen, Lisa. I wondered whether you could, Andrew, say a bit about, you know, how you felt going into that.
Yeah. So after doing all the work and kind of showing them where the direction that I was heading in, I was really excited to go in because it felt like, you know, something I've been working on for ages, and it was cool to show them the final product in context, like, and in that scenario. I felt like I was on like an episode of The Apprentice, like going into a big fancy boardroom in this big office in like central Manchester, and then pitching to everybody just the idea and my thoughts behind it. So pretty much the presentation that I showed you was the presentation that I gave to Lisa and George in that room.
How were you?
It was a.
You were obviously well prepared, right? And you'd obviously got some pretty good work behind you. Were you anxious though?
I was anxious, yeah, because I think you kind of take it for granted that you're going to be able to talk. You know, it's something like, it's like a soft skill that you're like, right, yeah, I can talk through this and I'll be fine and it's good. I've worked really hard on this. But then when I got there, during the nerves kick in and you start talking like a mile a minute. So I ran through it probably way faster than I wanted to. But yeah, I think going forward from that there, and having the placement opportunity and stuff, I know that, you know, Lisa and George are people, you know, in my head, like whenever I was going through the presentation and I sat down and like pressed like the start button, I was like, oh God, like, you know, I'm giving it to these, like, even though I'd met them before, but in my head, it just, I know, I got really scared. But it's one of those skills, one of those things that, you know, I'm going to have that with me for life, like being able to like talk through my concept from like start to finish. Just like professionals and hear their opinions on it. Like it's one of like the skills that I wish that I had sooner. because even moving forward, I had like a job interview yesterday actually for a company, and they want me to do a small task, and then on Zoom I have to pitch like the task to a few people in the company, and I'm not like as nervous as I maybe would have been if I hadn't had the experience that I had at Kin Carta, because it gave me those skills to kind of be able to make a presentation and talk through my ideas.
You also, I'm going to go back to you, Lisa, actually, just briefly, or George, if you wanted to say anything about that. I mean, for you, it's probably it's a great breather from your job, isn't it? Whereas for students, it's anything but.
Well, it didn't come across to me like you were nervous or anything, Andrew.
I was disguised.
The thing is, when you're talking about your own work, it's just so much easier because it's work you're proud of as well, work you want to impress people with. And I think everyone was like that, really. I didn't want to come across intimidating. I don't think Lisa did either.
No, I just got scared.
But it's actually, you said earlier that you were intimidated when you came in, but I think it's like the other way around as well, because we're like scared of like young students, coming in with new ideas and blowing our ideas out of the water. Like we don't want that either. Yeah, they were really impressive. All of it was.
Oh, thank you.
I think as well. I don't know how other other placement opportunities or live briefs go. But something that we were really keen to do was see the students a lot more than typically maybe you would see the students. So obviously we put in that mentoring time. We saw you came to us, we came to you, and you kind of develop a bit more of a better relationship so that when you do come to pitch, it should hopefully feel less daunting as well. Because I remember when we were at uni or college, and even when you're doing a client brief, sometimes you don't get to meet the people that you're pitching to and you're presenting to. And sometimes if you get to meet them and you understand their mannerisms and the way they are, it takes the edge off a bit. So we were really keen to do that. So hopefully it did. You came across fine when you presented. So
it definitely helped.
Yeah.
Meeting you beforehand was like something that really kind of made me feel at ease. It's just when you sit down and it like sets in like stage fright, you're like all the eyes are on you and you're like, oh.
And that doesn't go away.
I know.
I do get better at coping with it, and you do build confidence from it. It doesn't go away, I think. I mean, playing the drums and doing things like this, and every beginning of the year when we stand up in front of the students for the first time, you're like, here we go. And I think you learn to use it, but you're right, it doesn't ever fully go away. And I think probably if you didn't get nervous, you'd maybe be a psychopath or there'd be something wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're only nervous because you care about it. But I also think that the feeling you have after you've done it, like that relief.
Yeah, that
like,
adrenaline.
The greatest feelings. So, even when we present to co-op or, clients, the same clients we've presented to a number of times, it's just always like, what if this is the time that, I'm sick on myself or something.
Andrew, you were at Amaze for the month before lockdown, weren't you?
Yeah, so me and Alex, we got picked to go to Amaze for a bit of job shadowing just to see how like a real creative industry worked, and that was an experience that like I'll never forget because I'd never had that before. I'd never actually gone into like an establishment and seen all the different departments and seen how it works. And I think like knowing that gives me a bit more confidence that in the future when I do go into the workplace, I kind of know there's all these little teams and hearing the thought process behind so many ideas as well. Like Lisa took me through the work that she was doing at the minute, and George as well. And I got to talk through my final major project, and they gave me their opinions and guidance and help with that there. And there's quite a lot actually, but so much I could ramble on all day.
Well, Andrew had Andrew had a project. His final major project was jaw-dropping. It really was one of the most extraordinarily complete jobs we've seen, and it's worth looking at again. If you go to the chat under Andrew, I've got links. Here we go. So we've got Kin Carta's website. We've got the course. By the way, the course, all the course links are in one place in Linktree. So if you want to go to Instagram, the website, or Twitter, you can go there. But Andrew's links here. Andrew's got his website here, and that will take you to his final major work. And I'm just going to show you, this was a piece within Andrew's final major project that was an augmented reality piece that you held up to the website just to see this video. This video was, you could assess the work and miss that if you're not, well, obviously we didn't, but I mean, it was an amazing little video, like just hidden under the surface of the actual project.
Welcome to the Data Diner. You've chosen Bob's Bank Burger. Bob's oversharing saga began when he accepted a friend request from his niece. The conversation turned straight to money. He transferred the sum, and to his surprise, was blocked. And just like that, his bank balance went from 5 grand to 0. Don't be a Bob and let cyber criminals dine on your data. Head down to the Data Diner today. That is, if you're not already here.
And if you're interested in what the Data Diner is, and there's a website for it, and you can go to Andrew's website online, where the link is, where you can find out about the Data Diner. And this was all done in all modeled, 3D modeled, and there's so much in there you wouldn't believe it. So that, I mean, that's a really interesting project to look at as a final major project. And wait for that to load. Here we go. And it's just nice to, you know, to go and have a look at a student's piece of work and see what other things, you know, that they're capable of and have done. And you know, you can see from branding and product design here, and the videos, etc. So it's definitely worth having a look at Andrew's website. He's also working on a live project with Bearded Fellows that has come to us through one of our networking activities, which is something that Paolo runs with Creative Resources. There's some information on that on our website. And yeah, so Andrew's doing a bit of a freelance job for a client that's come through there, and that's involved us doing some client facing, some meetings, some pricing, working out specking of the job. Andrew's working Claire, another student, on that, and you know, I oversaw it initially, and now it's just doing its own thing. So yes, it's great work, Andrew, and I think we really appreciate you taking time this afternoon to walk us through all of that.
Thank you as well.
Yeah, no, thank you, Andrew. A round of applause. Does anybody have any questions for Andrew or Lisa and George now before I start to wrap up? Okay. Is that all clear, Alex?
Yep, no more questions.
Great. Okay. So you know, I think it's been really enjoyable. It's been super lovely to have Lisa and George here to give their side of this, which has been wonderful. You know, that's really what we're trying to do. We really, you know, believe wholeheartedly that we are trying to solve other people's problems and to teach students to solve other people's problems and to become commercially effective, which is, you know, exactly what you can see here, I think, with Andrew. And, you know, with all of our third year students, not all of whom could be here because they are now working. So, you know, I think that's testament to what great work that they actually do, and to the input that we get from the industry as well. Obviously, if you want to see anything on the course, I should just reiterate that I didn't have this one preloaded, but our link tree is here. If you haven't seen Linktree, it's quite cool. It enables you to put all your links in one place, which is pertinent for, he says, if it could load, which is pertinent for things where you can only get one link in. So, you know, we'll have more events coming up. We've got the course website here. We've still got our laptop and stroke desktop 2020 show, which Paolo put together with the students, obviously. The Instagram is going from strength to strength. We've got some great student profiles on there. Twitter, you know, is manned by Paolo and has got a, you know, 500 plus following, I think, something like that. And obviously, you could apply through the UCAS, or you can visit the institution website page, which has important information, but is not as interesting as our course website. I think the only thing that remains to say is that for those students who are looking to start next this September, welcome pack will be going out at the end of this week. And to say a massive thanks to, especially to Andrew, really, for helping put this together. And you can see it's taken quite a bit of time to put this together. So it's much appreciated. And we hope you well. And I know you'll be in touch and stay with us. But my fingers are crossed for you on that job.
Thank you. Me too.
Okay. Does anybody else want to say anything before we close up? Any of the tutors? I know Paolo and Alex are here.
Just well done, Andrew. Thank you for that. Thank you for everybody for attending, and I hope it's whetted your appetites. Made me feel hungry, actually, all that saucy fish. Again, I went through this at lunchtime and now it's nearly tea time. But yeah, definitely, and that's what it's for, so it works. And thank you very much to Lisa and George, as always, as well.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Alex, for manning the the welcome room.
There's a lot of love in the chat coming through as well. Lots of appreciation for that, for Andrew and yourself, Alex, as well, saying, you know, what a good presentation. It was really well pitched as well, Andrew, and there was a lot of touch points there, so well done.
And so just to close, finally to say two things. Firstly, we will be doing more of these, and so the events page will be the place to look out for. Instagram will be promoting them through Instagram and Twitter, through Paolo. He's done a load of work on that, so thank you. And also thanks for actually coming, because it wouldn't be this if you weren't here. So really appreciate it. And I'd just leave that to close the meeting now, Alex. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thanks,
everyone. Bye for now.
Nice to see you all.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Lisa.
Bye.
Bye, George.
See you later.
Bye, guys. Bye-bye, Andrew.